All right, so let's review where we left off. Let's see, we had created a server. There's a Node JS server that is using the Express library, right, to create middle tiers. We had created an Express instance and then made available the a data model, right, available through several controllers that we had created here. Right, the server started up, right? It declared several HTTP endpoints that we'll see in a minute, and then started listening at port 3000, right, for incoming HTTP requests. Okay, the controllers, right, we are using them to expose a data model through a service over here, right? So the controllers are listening for incoming requests for a list of quizzes. Right. Notice that this is a RESTful service that we are prepending it with the API token, and then we're using the plural noun for specifying what it is that we're asking for. So we're asking for quizzes, and then we're also asking for an individual quiz. In both cases, we are using a service, right, that is retrieving all this information from I believe it was some JSON files that contained arrays of quizzes and questions. So these service is implemented. Right? So these final quizzes and find quiz by ID are all implemented in a quizzes service. So if we go in there, right, the implementation. Did somebody had a question? Can't hear. Oh, I'm muted. See that? That's weird. For some reason, it muted. Not quite sure why. Okay, thank you. Right, so these services, right, are implemented in this JavaScript file. It just declares two functions, right, that are basically exporting the data that is stored in this hard-coded JSON file. Right, so we go to this JSON file, we'll see that we just have, an array of quizzes, right, and then we have these functions that allow you to retrieve all the array or an individual quiz if you provide the ID. Okay. Okay. We also have another controller, right? We have the questions controller, and the questions controller, again, it's exporting a data model by declaring this endpoint, right? That we can ask to retrieve the questions for a particular quiz, right? So if you provide the ID for that quiz, we can then go and use a service, a question service, to retrieve the array of quizzes for that particular quiz. If it's implemented through a service, right? That function, and in that service we have functions such as being able to retrieve all the questions, retrieve the questions if you give me the ID of the parent quiz that it belongs to, or retrieve an individual quiz. In all the cases, we are retrieving data from a hard-coded array that is stored here. So, for instance, this is the array that contains all the questions. We have let's see, we have 3 questions for quiz number 234. We have, I believe, 2 questions for quiz 345, right? And we have a single question for quiz 123, right? So that's the server side, right? Is providing Node.js access through a data model that is implementing a RESTful web service, right? So let's explore, right, how we would go about interacting with this RESTful service.